All right, guys. Today I'm gonna be talking about the former big three of anime. If you have your own idea or your own topic you want me to talk about, drop it in the comment section below. I will be doing basically all of them. Now, today I want to talk about the former big three from back in the early 2000s to maybe the early 2010s, mid 2010s, somewhere there, and that was Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. If you were there in the 2000s, man, and the early 2010s, man, you know that there was a time when One Piece, Bleach, and you know, when I think back on those times, you couldn't even imagine a time where these weren't like you couldn't even imagine a time where One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto weren't going to be the pinnacle of anime. You couldn't even think about it because literally Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, they argue who's better. You know what I mean? You argue, not Naruto, because Naruto's this and Naruto has drive, and you know what I mean? He believed in himself and he worked his way up. Then you have Bleach because Ichigo is a badass and the Soul Society and which I'm not even gonna lie on that one. I think the Soul Society, the relationship between the Soul Society and like the human world and the whole Espada thing and I think they did a good job with that and incorporating, you know, Ichigo's connection with the Soul Society members and, going from the big fight with Kenpaichi in the first arc in the Soul Society arc to later on him being an acquaintance and just the evolution of that with Aizen. And, a lot of people said Bleach was at the top for that. A lot of people put Bleach at the top because of the action and stuff like that, right? And maybe a lot of those people are more sword oriented type people, But and then of course One Piece. Like we all know the number one reason why people put One Piece at the top is because of the lore behind that story. The One Piece, the entire grind line and the different arcs and this and that and just even the evolution of those characters, you know. But man, like if you were there at that time, it was a pleasure to be there. Me personally, I'm not even gonna cap. I watched One Piece on 4Kids back in like 2004 on 4Kids, right? I was in like, or maybe 2005ish. I was like in third, fourth grade, and I would watch it here and there whenever I could get to 4Kids. But then what I realized was, or not what I realized, it was years later. I was probably about 11 years old, and it was one summer vacation, and I just got an intuitive thought, like, yo, what happened to that One Piece show I used to watch? You know? So then I went and I looked it up. I think I told this story before. For whatever reason, I just found it subbed. And for some reason, it just clicked automatically. Like I wasn't into watching anime or pirating anime, that culture of going and looking up the webs, Naruto Wire and all these websites and such episode one sub or dub. I never knew nothing about it. I just went, looked up the show, the sub came up, and I was like, nah, I'm in. And I remember I watched the whole thing up until maybe like, I think maybe like somewhere like the Alabasta arc was where I got to subbed, or maybe the Arlong, somewhere there. And then I had found the 4Kids. Somebody had actually uploaded the entire 4Kids dub on YouTube. So I picked up the 4Kids dub from there because it was nostalgic to me, right? And I watched it, and of course 4Kids didn't continue. Literally 4Kids went up to the point where if you guys remember that first episode that previewed Skypiea, when they sailed off, finishing off the Alabasta arc, and then somebody sees like a piece of wood come down to the ground, and it's like, what's that? And then they look up in the sky, and then you see a ship falling from the sky. So it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? That was literally the last episode of the 4Kids dub, and then Funimation eventually had picked it all back up years later. I remember when Funimation wasn't even dubbing One Piece. Around the time, like maybe about 6 months after I started watching One Piece, was the time that Funimation actually had started dubbing it from crazy, right? Crazy. In 2008, 2009, somewhere there, One Piece actually wasn't even being dubbed at one point. Like, not even the Sky Island arc was dubbed yet. It's crazy. I remember when they were first dubbing it, man. Nostalgia, but me, I was always a One Piece guy. I was a One Piece guy. Bleach and Naruto really got to me. I just couldn't mess with it. I didn't like it, man. I didn't like it. I don't know what it was about it. I didn't like it, man. Naruto was the one I hated the most. Eventually, and I remember coming home from school. I got to a point in One Piece where I never had caught up at that point. I got to a point in One Piece where I kind of was just kind of cooling on it. Maybe it was Maybe it was close to CP9 or something, but I burnt out from it. I was chilling, and I kept trying to watch Naruto and Bleach, and I just couldn't. Something about the first like handful of episodes of those shows just couldn't grab me. And then one day, something about that first episode of Bleach where Rukia had hit him out of his soul, out his body, like all of that. Something about it had grabbed onto me, and then I was a Bleach fan from there forward, and I kept on going with the Soul Society arc. And then shortly after that, I did the same thing with Naruto. And one day, just for some reason after school one day, I just tried it and it clicked, and I totally got in, you know. And I watched the whole Zabuza, everything. I think a lot of you guys, some of you guys might have been watching me and wondered if I ever even knew anything about, you know, those shows, because I never talk about them, right? Well, One Piece maybe, but I never talk about Naruto and Bleach much. But trust me, I was there. In the prime of the big three, I was there. 2008, 9, 10, 11, I was there, dog. I was there. I was there. I remember when I actually got into One Piece when it was on CP9. Like CP9 was just, I remember when the Lucci episode had just come out. That's how long I've been. I remember when the Rob Lucci fight, spoiler alert, when Luffy bust up Rob Lucci. You remember? Man, I remember that episode is like a movie. When Luffy went Gear 3 and then you see Lucci with his eyes back and his head falling over. Man, I remember that. I was like, oh my God. You know, and I was like, what, 11, 12 at the time, man. Crazy, crazy, you know. And then of course Naruto. I got into Naruto and I watched it, and then I remember I just couldn't take it no more. And at one point, after I finished the original Naruto, and I was trying to watch Shippuden, it was okay. And I remember I went to visit my uncle in Virginia for like a week. And I remember when he'd be at work and shit, I'd be on the computer, and I said, you know what? Before I go back to Canada, I'm going to catch up in Naruto. And so what I did is I read the manga all the way up to like the latest chapter. I was supposed to stop. I was, of course you're Googling things to see where it matches up. Of course, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm gonna just stop where the show is caught up to, right? But then I just said, nah, I'm gonna keep going. And I read it all the way up to, where the manga was on the latest chapter, which was actually the final war arc. It was in the final war arc. I was like 13, probably going to high school or something like that, just going into 9th grade. So this is like 2010, somewhere there, when the manga was on the final war arc. It seemed like it was just yesterday, right? But the big three, obviously these days, it's been a while actually, if you think about it, that the big three has kind of been dethroned. It's been almost a decade, since the rise of, because I think My Hero Academia came out like 2016. You know what I mean? So we're talking about 8 years ago. And then, of course, over time, Demon Slayer eventually came out, and, so many shows. Attack on Titan had its takeover. So, man, the big three, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. Now, my favorite, of course, is going to be One Piece. Naruto is my least favorite out of all three, even though I've probably given Bleach the least amount of attention. Like, I think I might, yeah, I think I finished, did I? No, I had finished it to where it had stopped. If I remember, comment down below and tell me if I'm wrong. If I remember, Bleach had like stopped for a while, for like a year or something, and then came back and then they finished it. Tell me if I'm capping in the comment section, but I think that's how it went. Wherever it stopped the first time is where I cut off, but man, like with Naruto, my favorite arc of Naruto is probably going to be the Chunin exam. Like, let's just be honest, the Chunin exam, like, come on, bro, come on. The Chunin exam is one to remember. With Bleach, I don't even really remember Bleach as much, but I would even probably say the Soul Society arc, the first Soul Society arc with the Kenpaichi fight, and when it was pretty basic, when it was just the Quincy, Chad, is his name Chad? I forgot his name. Dude with the arm, and then Ichigo and Rukia, when they went up in there, when what's his name with the red Renji? Is his name Renji with the red hair? with the sword that looked like that when he went up, when he was still part of the Soul Society and stuff. I like that art. And then with One Piece, I'm not sure, because with One Piece, I really love um I at one point I used to love Arlong Park. I don't really care about Arlong Park no more. Skypiea I really love. CP9 I really love. The Sabri Archipelago arc I really love. Fishman Island is lit. I don't care what nobody say. Fishman Island is you know the probably the most bandwagon arc in the series is the Marineford arc. Is the arc the that Marineford I think it is, where after they got out, basically the one that picks up after Luffy infiltrated Imple Down and then he got out and shit like that. The arc after that. But I don't even really remember what that was about. I watched it. I was caught up in One Piece in 2013. I was caught up and I have not, and I just fell off. It was around, I think I watched it up to like Punk Hazard was just getting started and I caught up and then I never watched it again. Never caught back up, never, over 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And I've been saying that I was going to watch it and catch up. And I'm going to catch back up in One Piece. Trust me. I'm going to catch back up in One Piece. But, it is what it is. Yeah, man. The big three. Which one of those were your guys' favorite ones? I want to know. Because that was a time where anime felt a little bit less overwhelming, even though it was still overwhelming at the time. Because at that time, I remember I used to go on the websites. There was still a shit ton of anime coming out and stuff to watch. Because even at that time, you had Kill Hitman Reborn. You had, I remember Ice Shield 21 was like popular. I think it was already finished, but it was popular. People were watching it. There was tons of backlog from like the earlier 2000s, right? From like 2005, 6, like that's when I watched Kenichi. That's when I watched like Air Gear. There was still a backlog of stuff to watch from then, Gantz and all these things. And then there was still stuff coming out. I remember Magi came out in 2012. Fairy Tail, that we can't even forget about Fairy Tail, Gintama, and all these different things were out. But I feel like it was a less overwhelming. That's probably the next, babble I'll do, where I talk about anime 10 years ago versus anime 10 years before that. You know what I mean? Anime probably in like 2004 versus anime in 2014 versus anime in 2024, because obviously there's differences. But seriously, I want to know what you guys want me to babble about next. This is a new thing I'm going to be doing, where I kind of just get on the camera and just talk freely, man, because maybe I'll say it in another video. I don't want people to miss this message that I might. So maybe I'll do a video that's more focused on that. But, I really, this is a video series that I really want to do. It's something that I could just pop out every day or multiple times a week or whatever the case may be, just depending on the demand. You know what I mean? But like the video, comment down below what you guys want to see next. I'm out. Thanks for watching Anime Back When. Peace.